You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in to the Outspoken Sportscast, episode 111. We got the NBA playoff bracket here for you on the spotlight of the week. It's been a little bit since we've had Jeff on.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. How you been?
Good. Been real good.
Good. At the end of each episode, you will hear the What's in Our Locker segment, and that gives you a little personal look into our lives and what we got going on this week and what we've been doing. But this episode is going to include the NBA bracket, like we just said. We got the headlines for you. It ranges. We got some interesting news coming in. We got a new football league starting this weekend, Jeff, the USFL. We have new details on the tragic Dwayne Haskins incident. We've got more drama of Kyle Murray. We got some drama in Big D there, Jeff.
Always.
And was Clayton Kershaw robbed? We'll get into all that on this week's episode. All right, guys, welcome in. The spotlight this week, Jeff, we got the NBA playoffs coming. All right, they actually start tomorrow night. We got one more game, actually two more games, but one more tonight, and that is the last play-in games. You got the Clippers and the Pelicans going at it in the Western Conference. Winner goes forward, loser goes home. And then on the other side, you've got Cleveland versus Atlanta, the same situation, and they'll go on to face the number one seeds in both. So we're still trying to figure out that, but we know the rest of the brackets, okay? We know what else, who the teams are going to face and everything going forward. There's, I don't know, some clear-cut favorites maybe not. We'll discuss that here. And let's talk about the games tonight, Jeff. News broke earlier that the Clippers are going to be without Paul George. He is entering COVID protocols. A really, really bad time for him to come down with that and miss this do-or-die game to get into the playoffs tonight. Jeff, you might be muted.
I am muted. Huge loss for the
the
Clippers. It's kind of horrible. I mean, again, they don't have Kyrie. Or not Kyrie. They don't have Kawhi Leonard. And so, yeah, I mean, they've been kind of dealing with that throughout the season, kind of having to fight their way to get to this point. It shows how important he is. I can assure you that. And Paul George was definitely their next guy that they needed to step up to get to the playoffs and obviously make a push. I don't think a lot of people thought that the Clippers would be in a position to really go very far this year. Even though they are a talented team, they are missing their guy, and he makes a big difference. So, yeah, it sucks. And I mean, they're playing the Hawks, right?
No, they're playing the Pelicans.
Pelicans. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is kind of a weird game. You kind of you don't think the Pelicans are as they're not going to be good, but they're going up against the Clippers, and the Clippers have been pretty good. Not too bad, but not too terrible. And the fact that it's a possibility we could see the Pelicans in the playoffs in an actual series sounds nuts.
And I think Pelicans actually take this game without Paul George, without Kawhi Leonard. You're missing two big pieces. The Pelicans have some talent. I think they're a team that's obviously they're not really that good. They're 36 and 46. You got the drama there with their big man. He's not going to play the rest of the playoffs. He's injured prone. We'll see what happens with him, but I could depend. I mean, this team, it's a coin flip between these two teams right now, and I say with a healthy Clipper team, they obviously win this game. The Minnesota Timberwolves were able to beat them in the playoff game last week, and move on. But I got New Orleans winning this game. I think just too many losses there for the Clippers, and this might be the first year we see that neither of the LA teams made the playoffs.
Yeah,
what a joke especially for the Lakers. But
bad. Well, it's bad for the NBA too. It's a marquee franchises not in the playoffs. So, but it's exciting to at least see some stuff going on. I think a lot of people are going to be eyeing down some of these other teams that to make some noise and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game tonight. It all starts tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, playoffs do start tomorrow.
Okay.
This is Easter weekend, so that'll be interesting. The other game we got is Atlanta and Cleveland, and they're one game off of each other, record-wise. Atlanta last season kind of came out of nowhere. They were, I think, a 5 or 6 seed. They kind of fell off this season. And Cleveland's come out of nowhere. We didn't expect them to be in the playoffs. They were higher. They were the 5th seed in the East, and they fell down a little bit. They're a young team. I got Atlanta winning this one. I think Trae Young is going to take over. He took over against the Hornets, and they beat the Hornets by 29 points the other night. I think he takes over again, and they will go on to face Miami if they win.
I definitely like the Hawks in this matchup. They're good, and I definitely like Trae Young. He's a beast on that team. He is their guy to step up each and every game, and they're going to live and die by that. So if he has a great game and he starts off hot early, it's not going to be good for anybody, at least especially in this early round, this play-in type of situation. So, and it's a do or die. It's very weird because you're so used to series, you're so used to these teams playing 6 games, 7 game series, full, not necessarily a NFL style, do or die, you lose, you're out, kind of thing. So it's so different. This didn't happen last year. Is this new?
No, it did happen last year.
It did happen last year.
They started. I believe they started playing last year, and they take the 7, 8, and 9 team, and they do a little
kind of like
bracket.
Exhibitions. Yeah. Okay.
And go from there, and I like it. I think it's better for the game. To have these kind of do or die. It makes you want to tune in and watch who's going to win these games. So
it seems like this is happening more and more. They're adding more teams. They're adding more, chances for other teams to do stuff. It seems like we're seeing this with baseball. We're seeing this with the NFL. NFL's adding more playoff teams to the picture. NBA is starting to do it. So I think that's a good thing. I think you're going to see more teams, who's legitimate, who's not, more often. I think you're also going to see some surprise teams that come out of nowhere that we never thought they were as good as they were, and they end up becoming amazing. So I think it's great.
It definitely is, and it opens up the ability for more of a Cinderella story or an underdog. Now in the NBA, that really doesn't happen. You don't see a lot of 8 seeds take over number one, but we've seen it in football. Mm-hmm. Some teams have barely made a wild card, like the Packers, the Giants, and they go on to win the World Series. Not World Series, the Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
And we've seen it with the Braves last year, a team
Yep.
that wasn't really all that great the first half of the season. They kind of caught on fire, and then that's all kind of really takes. And the same way with hockey, if you get in, as long as you get into the playoffs, crazy things happen. But Jeff, we've got some interesting games. Okay, Phoenix, the best team in the NBA this year. They only lost 18 games. That is insane. They kind of continued from what they were last season. They're going to face either the Clippers or New Orleans, and I think they move on from that. You've got Memphis versus Minnesota. I think Memphis handles this business, and they've kind of come out of nowhere this year. As they were decent last year, and John Morant came on the scene, and this guy's an absolute beast.
The Grizzlies are a surprise.
Yes, they are. I would say
huge
that the biggest surprise this season.
Oh yeah,
as far as because there's surprises both ways, right? Good and bad.
Right.
They're the biggest good surprise. And with I mean, I don't even know when the last time the Grizzlies were good. I don't know if it's been in my lifetime. So it's good to see them there.
I'd say this is the 90s, really. I think they were pretty good in the 90s. They were decent. They weren't bad.
Yeah. You've got Golden State and Denver, which should be a good one. Steph Curry is back. They said he will play game 1, so that's a big key there. I honestly think that, first of all, I think Memphis does take over Minnesota. But going back to that, but I got Golden State beating Denver. Joker's by himself. His 2 star players will not play this playoffs. He's by himself, and when you by yourself facing a 7-game series, especially against Golden State, you're not going to do very good, in my opinion. I think Golden State, if healthy, can take Denver down pretty easily. So
the only thing that I find to be a little bit in question is how healthy is Curry. How healthy is he going to be ready to go? Is he, again, we know how injury prone sometimes he can be, especially, it's a lot of the workloads on him a lot of times. So, all it takes is one tweak, one turn, one, awkward landing, and he could be out. So it's very interesting. That's going to be key. They're going to have to really manage it. I think they even said today that they're going to do time management with him during the playoffs, which is interesting. So that's pretty key there. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the Warriors adapt and how the Nuggets take advantage of a possible, the situation with Stephen Curry is being time managed and stuff, and maybe not going to be on the court as long as he would have been if it was a normal situation.
Right. And then you still got Draymond Green if he's healthy, and Klay
True.
Thompson. And so I think if the other guys are healthy, I think Denver might take it. But with them being injured, I'm just not too sure. And Curry, they're probably kind of holding them out, knowing that they're probably going to beat Denver and move on. Maybe they're resting them up a little bit, taking some of those minutes off, because they probably could think they're going to make it past the first round and go on and face the next one. And here's your team, Jeff. Dallas versus Utah. We got number 4 seed Dallas versus number 5 seed Utah. And this is all going great until Luka's injury. Luka's actually been ruled out for game 1, which we all figured he would be. Don't know when he's going to return, or saying probably game 3, maybe game 4, if he returns at all. If Luka's playing healthy, I got Utah. Or I got Utah losing this series. I got Dallas winning in 5. Okay, without Luka, in a 7-game series, I've got to go with Utah. Unfortunately, Dallas needs to come out and punch him in the mouth game 1. What I've seen from Dallas this year, Jeff, is I've seen them move on from Porzingis. I've seen the trade work out really well for them. I think this is all due to Jason Kidd. I got to give him some good credit there. Jason Kidd's got his guys playing for him. Luka, the leader of the team, has got his guys playing for him. And without Luka, these guys have actually stepped up and made they've had some good stats going on without Luka playing. They were 8-9 without Luka this season, so it's not a total, 2-17 or something like that.
Right.
8-9. They're still a good team. I'm just not sure if Luka doesn't come back before game 4. It depends on what the record's going to be in the series. Neither one of these teams, though, and even with Luka, has won on the road. Dallas has won the 2 games they faced Utah here. Utah has won up in Utah with Luka. So we'll see what happens. If Utah, I say this, if Utah can't beat the Dallas Mavericks without Luka, then it's time to blow things up. Okay, it's time to blow it up there in Utah. There's rumors that Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell hate each other, and they're ready to get out of there. And there's a lot of quit in that team. There's talk about the head coach going to LA next season. If the Dallas Mavericks can come out and punch him in the mouth game 1 and win and put some doubt and some frustration in that locker room, they could possibly win. But I just think with Luka out, that Utah wins in about probably 6 games, maybe 5.
But we don't know how long Luka would be out. That's a big question. So I did some research a little bit on this, and there's a number of things that could be the case. Strained calf could be anything. The weird part is it's amount of the degree of the strain itself. We don't know what that is. They could be very well looking at it like, who cares? Let's set him out 1 game. Worst case scenario, we lose the game. We bounce back and just he's ready to go and we're good to go. So a pulled calf, I think can have a recovery time of up to 6 weeks. Now it can take also up to 3 days for it to start feeling better. It's supposed to be that you can actually walk around and it can actually start recovering that and increase recovering time, which is interesting. But if it's a tear, it's a 3 to 6 week rest before you can return to full activity. That is all depending on what kind of injury this is. Now, it's a weird thing. I don't know why he was playing. I know they wanted to get a higher seed, but they should have taken him out of the game. At that point, what does it matter? You've rested him a few other times. That's the only thing I have knock on Jace Kidd on that one is I'm like, he shouldn't have even been out there at that point. There should have been no reason that he was out there.
I agree.
It was the last game of the season. Who cares? That's very possible the Mavericks going to win. We could possibly have won that game anyway. They were up by quite a bit, I think, so at some point. So it's just like there was no sense in him continuing to be out there, other than maybe conditioning and making sure he's ready. But I think he was. There's no question that Luka's ready for anything. So, but I don't hold it. I agree with them sitting out game 1. I think game 1's not going to be a problem. I think that whether or not the Mavericks win or lose, Luka will be ready for the rest of the playoffs. At least getting to the first round. Now they may do a Steph Curry type thing and rest him more. They may do a thing where he's out there X number of minutes. He's got a minute limit kind of thing. They don't want to put him out there for the whole, kit and caboodle like they typically do, especially during the playoffs. So I could see something like that. It just depends, man. This is the worst thing the Mavericks could have happened to them before the playoffs. If he is out the whole series, I do not see them winning. I would be shocked if they did without him. That would be kind of crazy. And not to say that the Mavericks aren't any good, and not to say that Utah's amazing. So I think this is one of the best case scenarios for Utah. Doesn't mean anything. They're going to get knocked out the next round, but it is what it is. There's not a whole lot that could be done at this point. You have to either just rest Luka, and if it's bad enough, rest him the series. And if we win the series, great. He's arrested the whole series. So it
depends. There's 3 different strains, and the lowest one is, they say, 7-10 days. Middle one's 3-6 weeks, and the higher one is he's done.
It just didn't look that crazy. Like, it's not like the dude fell on the floor and was just like in agonizing pain or anything. So I really find it hard to believe that this is a massive strain that is keeping him sidelined for 7 to 6 weeks or whatever, 6 to 7 weeks. Like, I don't think this is the worst case scenario. I think this is possibly in the middle between not great and this isn't anything to be worried about. We'll miss one game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
He's probably going to be out first 2, maybe back 3. Best case, is he going to be 100% healthy? What percentage he's going to be?
They'll shot him up at that point.
Now, the Brett Favre treatment is what I call that.
Get out there!
Get out there! Look, if there's any chance, now go ask Kevin Durant. Did the same thing. He had the strain on his calf. Went out there and then tore his Achilles in half because of that. So if there's any chance the doctor says, you got a 5% chance that could happen, I keep him out the whole playoffs unless they make it far, which they're not making it far without Luka. Because if he snaps his Achilles, he's out for next year too. It's not worth it. The bigger pressure is on the Utah Jazz coming out in this series,
right?
Not on Dallas. They kind of have that built-in. It's like when you lose your quarterback, right? You have that built-in excuse. Well, no one's going to hold it against you. Jason Kidd's already got him to the highest seed they've been in a long time. He's got nothing to worry about. The Mavericks were set up really well in the future.
Right. And it's not like Jason Kidd's jobs on the line. Luka's coming in last year. It was do or die. Everybody on the team is 40 years old, like.
All right, Jeff. Well, let's look at the Eastern Conference. You got Miami, number 1 seed. I think they kind of shocked everyone this year, being as good as they were.
Mm-hmm.
Spoelstra there as a head coach has been fantastic. Still there, still coaching a very talented basketball team, and they've kind of been a quiet number 1 seed. No one's really talking about them, and I think that's could be scary for their teams. But is it because not a lot of teams trust them in the playoffs? Kind of like Utah, they make the playoffs. Yeah. Last year, number 1 seed, I said I don't care. They don't win, and Miami's had a success and have gotten there before, but I'm not sure if I trust this team to go all the way. They'll play.
They have to prove it. They have to prove it. I think this is a prove it for them, and maybe they will. Maybe we come out of this season and go, wow, like the Heat are back, like they're good. We took them for granted, and this is a legitimate contender in the East. But they have to prove it, man. I mean, that's just it. They haven't done anything since the 3, and I think that maybe it's fair possible. I mean, a lot of people, they've had buzz, but they haven't had the stage, and now they have the stage. So now everyone's going to get to see who the Miami Heat are.
And they're really talented. Jimmy Butler's there. I love he's got that dog mentality. I'm going to play every game my hardest. I don't care if it's practice. I don't care. Shooting around, everything is done with the mama mentality. He's got that dog in him.
Don't talk about practice, whatever you do, bro.
We got Tyler Hero, who's great. Victor Oladipo, who's good. You've got Kyle Lowry coming over from Toronto this year. You've got Bam Adebayo, who's a beast. Duncan Robinson. So this team is really talented. It doesn't surprise me when you look at the roster on paper that they ended up being number 1. Can they put it together in the playoffs? And we'll see. Eric Spoelstra is a really good head coach. Then we got Boston versus Brooklyn. And number 2, Boston Celtics. Brooklyn's number 7. Brooklyn fell off this year. They traded away James Harden. That thing fell apart faster than a comet coming down to Earth. Okay, they got Ben Simmons, who hasn't played since 2 years now. I mean, last year
Kyrie
or the off season, and he hadn't played all year. The back injury. They got Kyrie, who can't play in home games or away. I don't even know with him not being vaccinated, and that's cool. But Boston wins the series, Jeff.
Yeah, I have a feeling Boston wins this series.
A lot of people are picking Boston. And look, the Nets
Kyrie's going to make a statement in this game.
The Nets could line up, be the most talented team on the court when they play most teams, right? They got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and they've got a lot of guys there, but they don't have chemistry. They don't have team chemistry that you need in the NBA. You've got 5 guys in the court, and you've all got to be on the same page. I think Boston's chemistry, and they're playing really well, and they've got star players. I think they finally get over the hump and they beat Brooklyn. And Boston's been that quiet team that they have a long history of success, and we really haven't heard from them when Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen all left. They've always been good and in the playoffs, but they never get over that hump. And I think this is the year they could go far in the playoffs. Am I saying they're going to go to the championship? I don't think so. But I think they take Brooklyn, and I think they take them in 6. But a lot of guys are picking Boston and not Brooklyn, and I hope so because I can't stand Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But Kyrie Irving does have a lot to show because
he does,
the
Celtics, the Celtics have a lot to show him too. This is going to be a very intense series. The fans are going to be intense, especially in Boston.
Oh yeah,
Kyrie has talked crap about them, or has didn't he deface the center of the ring of the court, and
he lied to their face.
He lies to their face. Those fans are going to be
vicious,
rabid,
and that could feed into Kyrie Irving playing better.
Yeah,
and Kevin Durant. So it's interesting balance there. But you're exactly right, and I think Kyrie did him wrong in my opinion. But Boston, go out and beat them, man. Go out and beat them. We're all rooting for you, I think. And then you got number 3 Milwaukee versus number 6 Chicago. This will be a good series.
Yeah,
I think Milwaukee does take it, but the Chicago Bulls are talented. They've had some good pieces this year. The roster, I figure they'd be a little higher, but 6 seed. You can't
all be 1 seeds. You can't all be high 4 seed or So
yeah,
somebody's got to be a 6, and they're good. They're good teams. So there's some good teams in the East. I'm telling you right now, the East has some good teams, and they're starting to build everything and become something special. So
I think honestly, it's going to come down to how bad Giannis wants it, and at any time he could be the best player in the NBA on any given night, and he's a beast. And he's learned a 3-point shot. He drives to the basket, and he puts a lot of pressure on your defense, and he can do it all. So I think Milwaukee wins that one. And then you got Toronto versus Philly, number 4 versus number 5. You got Philly with Joel Embiid, who's put the team on his back. They made the trade with Ben Simmons. They got James Harden. Are those two going to work together? It hasn't. They're still kind of learning, and their owner said they're a work in progress, and that's not what you want to hear going into the playoffs. I think Toronto upsets them this year. I think Toronto is better coached. Doc Rivers is good, but I think Toronto's got a really good head coach, Nick Nurse. They're a talented team. They did lose Lowry, but they're still the 5th seed, so it didn't hurt them too much there. I think Toronto does upset Philly, and Philly goes home early, in my opinion. But I don't know what you think. I really like Embiid. I just don't think they've got the chemistry yet, and I don't trust James Harden in the playoffs.
Man, it's hard to go against. Philly. I'm going to go with Philly on this. Honestly, I do. I think Harden and them are going to at least get out of this. It's going to be a challenge, but if they work together and have some form of cohesiveness, I do think they'll win this series. It's going to go high, but I think it's going to go to like a 6, maybe a 7 game. Harden's hard to guard. It's hard to beat. But it's all about who else can step up other than him. We know Harden's going to step up. We know he's going to play. But everyone else playing on their game as well, they have to do that, because if not, they'll get knocked. But it doesn't say that, this team is horrible now. I just think that it's just not yet. They don't have the pieces yet. They had to get rid of quite a bit of stuff and to get some of these guys. So, they did trade a lot.
All right, Jeff. Well, if it came down to it today, who's your NBA championship matchup? If you had to guess who's going to make it all the way, what would you say?
I'd probably go Bucks Suns. I think we're doing it again. Yeah. I think we're doing it again. I would have picked the Lakers if they were in, but they're not.
I see your subtle shots there.
I could also even see, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily roll out the Warriors, but if it's all about Stephon Curry and obviously, or not Stephon, Seth Curry, and then also with the Mavericks, it's about Luka. I mean, if those guys are hurt, Warriors aren't going in very far in, and the Mavericks aren't going very far in. So,
well, I mean, Mavericks aren't even if Luka's healthy, Mavericks aren't winning the championship.
oh, I'm not saying they're winning it. I'm saying they're not going to go far.
Oh no. I have the same. I have Phoenix versus the Bucks. I was going to go Golden. I was thinking Golden State, but I think Phoenix. I think what Phoenix has learned this year is to be able to win without Chris Paul. That was their big thing last year. Is Chris Paul got hurt and they would start losing, and it's like, man, okay, they started learning how to win without Chris Paul. They're really well coached. I got Phoenix in Milwaukee, and I think the Phoenix Suns get the job done. But
yeah, it's possible. I mean, I keep getting on the fence with Miami. Like I don't know.
Yeah, they're very talented.
Something about that team is no one's talking about them, and I think maybe some people should be. So it's hard to ignore them a little bit. So
definitely is. All right, guys. Well, that was the spotlight of the week. Let us know if you have any NBA takes, if you who you think's going to win. It should be a pretty interesting playoffs. We might see an LA-less playoffs. The Clippers, if they lose tonight, they won't be in it. The Lakers aren't in it. Obviously, it's been the biggest flop of a season, the most embarrassing Lakers season I've ever been a part of. I'm getting closer. My buddy wants me to jump on the Luka train. He's like, come be a Dallas Maverick. And I'm like, you know what? I told him today, I go, I'm getting closer because I want to root for a guy that wants to play and not a guy like LeBron who quits on his team. But
well,
anyways,
I mean, you have to like buckle up and just, bring all your Lakers stuff into the room, sit down, and just go.
You're fired.
Oh man! And my buddy, I have a buddy of mine that was a Lakers fan until Kobe left, and he's like, I was a Lakers fan because Kobe left. Now I'm a Luka fan, so. And I'm like, man, I want to do that, but I just don't know. I just don't know if I can do that, man. But
one day, I guess we'll see.
I really, Luka is the other most watched player that I watch. But all right, guys, well, that's it for the spotlight of the week. Let's jump into the headlines. All right, Jeff. Well, Tuesday's episode, we covered this sad, tragic news that happened over the weekend, and we'll give you a chance to talk about it here. New details, though, have come out over the sad passing of Dwayne Haskins. What a tragic story that was. And me and Craig covered the debacle from Adam Scheffner, from Gil Brandt. I don't know if you've heard of all that stuff going on with that, but there has been new details leaked about the incident, and we still don't know everything. But there was a woman found drunk and passed out in the vehicle Haskins was driving. So that's new details. And it makes you think what was going on. Was Dwayne Haskins under the influence of alcohol, driving the vehicle? That's why he decided did the vehicle break down? There's a lot of open questions we don't know. Now we're gonna have to wait till a toxicology report, and it just leaves these unopened questions on the whole details and situation that what happened. I mean, we may never know, but just a sad passing, and hopefully we get some, find out what happened. And I'm hoping that, nothing. I'm hoping Dwayne Haskins, it was just one of those accidents and wasn't under the influence of anything to make him make a bad decision, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, this is, and I hope it's not. And if it comes out that it is, the NFL's failed somebody big time. The NFL, see, this is a problem that I don't know if people, I've mentioned this before, but the NFL has this policy where they give you a card, right? And then this card has a number on it, and you're able to call it at any moment when you're out and about at a bar, whatever, and they will have someone pick you up in a car and take you home. They have this service forever. It's like a free Uber, right? And I don't know if some of these people either don't know about it or they aren't, people around them. But again, they also have people that will come with you that are sober that will also help you drive home. So it's just like, what is going on with the NFL? Why does this keep happening if this is true? And if it is true, what is going on with Goodell to where he's not making this a thing? This is not the first time this has happened, if it has. And it just, to me, it's just either a failure of education by the NFL to make it a thing or not. And I don't understand it. Like, they talk about the concussions, they talk about all these other things, but they have failed to really talk about this.
I mean, I agree at a certain point. It's just a bad decision making. Anytime any human being, no matter who you are, decide to drive while under the influence of anything, it's a dumb decision.
Sure. Yeah.
Bottom line. Okay, you hear it all the time. Guy drunk and runs into a car and kills 3 people and he's still alive. You hear it all the time, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
We won't know yet what happened on that highway. Why was Dwayne Haskins there? Why did the car break down? Did it run out of gas? Did he just get out and start walking? We have no idea. Adam Schefter's tweet was senseless. It lacked empathy for this guy, and Gil Brandt was even worse. Did you hear what Gil Brandt said?
No, what did he say?
Oh my gosh. Gil Brandt went on an interview the same day. This was an interview on XM radio on FS1, and they were interviewing about Dwayne Haskins. It popped up, and they just started talking about it. And he said, Dwayne Haskins was a guy always living to die.
Oh, my God.
That it's always something with Haskins. He said one more thing.
That's still not an excuse to say stuff like that.
Dude, I was like, this guy still has a job. How is he not fired for that? And here's what I can't stand, and this goes all beyond the Dwayne Haskins part of this. And I saw this the other day on social media. Some guy lost his life. I don't know if he was famous or a baseball player or something, and he lost his life due to drug overdose.
Was that with the Angels?
No, I know who you're talking about. That's Tyler Skaggs.
Okay.
No, this is something else. I don't know if I think it was sports related, but not like big time sports related.
Okay.
And all these comments on social media is, well, yeah, look how many drugs he had in his system. Well, yeah, this. Well, yeah, that. I'm like, guys, you're missing the point. Someone died. Okay? Someone lost their life. I don't care how. I don't care if Dwayne Haskins, did drive drunk and got out and got hit by a car. That does suck. But just because that someone was under the influence doesn't mean their death isn't sad. And people try to use that, oh, well, dumb decision, what an idiot. And it's like, guys, someone lost their life. Someone lost their father. Someone lost their husband, their wife, whoever, whatever it is. Like, I don't know why people have to get on there and start just badmouthing. And I'm like, dude, someone lost their lives. It's a tragic story. Can we not take time to have some empathy for somebody? And it's ridiculous. But sorry, I had to get that little rant off my chest. But yes, so that's the new information, and that leads that whole question mark and the Dwayne Haskins about the woman being found drunk leads those unopened questions. And I get, we'll just have to wait for the toxicology report to come back and all that stuff. But number 2, Jeff, Jason Garrett finds himself a new spot and a new job as he will be broadcast booth of the new league that starts this weekend, the USFL. Jason Garrett, the guy who is very bland. All right. He's very bland. No, I'm not really a big personality guy. Do you think he's going to be entertaining? Because I don't think he's going to be very entertaining.
Oh man, when it comes to this,
I-
who?
I-
Oh gosh. Oh, he's gonna. He wasn't entertaining whenever he would do press conferences.
no,
So
no, he wasn't.
it's not
Put you
like
to sleep.
it's not like it's a Nathaniel Hackett situation where he's hilarious and wild and whatever. But I guess I don't even really remember what Jason Garrett sounds like anymore. So if somebody was like, "Hey, that's Jason Garrett," I'd be like, "Okay." I guess he's doing something. He obviously is never going to coach again. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he'll be coaching in USFL. Who knows? But I guess it's going to be weird to hear it. But I guess maybe Cowboy fans. I don't know. Maybe somebody's excited. I don't know who would be. Are you?
No, am I excited about Jason Garrett?
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Okay.
He puts me to sleep in his press conferences. He's the trust the process guy. Are you going to watch the USFL, Jeff? I think that's the bigger question here. Are you going to watch this week? It starts this weekend. It starts tomorrow night. The first game is 6:30 Saturday night on Fox, I believe. It's the New Jersey Generals versus the Birmingham Stallions. So will you tune in at some point? They've also got to deal with Peacock as well in FS1, and USA.
Maybe if I remember it's on, I'll probably tune in.
Right, and I've tuned into them all. I tuned into the XFL. I tuned into the AAF or whatever that was. I'll tune into this one. And there's one thing I already really like about this league, Jeff. There will be no chains for the first downs. There is a chip in the football, and it will be able to tell you where the ball is on the field. So that's interesting. That's fantastic. Have you ever seen a tennis match, Jeff, and see the replay of tennis?
Yeah.
They have the best replay system of all time in any sport. And this is kind of the step going with football. They can challenge a call, and they can go back and see where that ball landed by the millimeter on the court and figure if it was in or out. That's what this is kind of, I guess, what they're doing with the USFL. I'm interested to see, how that's going to work, but that's the technology they're using. So, are not the same tennis technology, but something to that effect. So I think that's pretty interesting.
I think seeing innovation that's possibly going to hit, the NFL maybe possibly is a good thing. I think it's interesting. I think it's definitely very interesting. Because whatever works for them, if fans really like it, I do see the NFL maybe taking a little bit of that and maybe stealing it or saying, well, hey, why can't we, adapt that into regular, stuff for the NFL? I could see that.
Right. And that's actually the XFL starts next year in 2023. That's something they've made a deal with the NFL to work on player safety and get the XFL up to the safety standards and a deal where they can kind of work off each other. And I think it's a fantastic idea. And the last time they had the XFL, they used the Sky Cam where they had when they had a review, they had a guy right there be able to review the play and tell them within seconds if it was the right call or not. So I really like those things, and I'm hopefully the NFL is open-minded enough to use some of those things instead of not. And I think that they're doing the smart thing with it, because going up against the NFL, you're not going to win. If you're trying to battle them, you're not going to win. But hey, opening up, hey, can we work? Can we make a deal with this? Make a deal with that? I think that's kind of the way to go, and that's why they're not playing the same season as the NFL is, and they're going to be competing with the playoff basketball and stuff, but nothing's as big as the NFL, so they might be able to get some traction. I'm not sure if it's really going to work out for them, though.
Yeah, these leagues, and isn't it owned now? I think isn't it run by The Rock and his wife, XFL now?
Yes, it's run by
his ex-wife. His ex-wife.
The Rock and somebody. I'm not sure. They're actually being sued for stealing the brand from
Danny Johnson. That's his ex-wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're running it with something.
Technically, I guess she is majority owner of it. versus The Rock. So
interesting.
But it's an odd thing. USFL, I think, like I told you, and I said this before in other shows, it's got to be consistent. We've got to see one season, another season, another season, another season before everyone starts getting excited each off season. Going, now we got something to watch. Now we have another team to root for. Blah blah blah. You cannot do this thing where it's like we'll do a season and then it's over.
Yeah,
And it's like, well, that's it. No one is going to stay connected when they have that over their head of going, well, they don't stay around. So why am I going to waste my time?
Right.
Stay around and then I will invest my time.
The AAF lasted 8 games. The XFL will do a year and then stop. And the XFL said they stopped because of COVID, but I honestly think they stopped because ratings were so bad. So I'm interested to see what The Rock's going to be doing with it, and interested to see Bob Stoops is staying as a head coach, but I don't know if they're keeping the team here. I don't know if they're changing the teams up. So there's still no kind of direction yet of what's going on there. I figured they'd keep the same teams, but I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah. It's going to be, I don't know. People, I guess, I personally think that there are some people who are definitely excited. But in my opinion, I think that it's all about consistency with this kind of stuff. So if you really want to see more of this, tell people to go watch it. I mean, even if you DVR it and just kind of catch in and interact that way, I guess they still track that stuff. So I think it all makes sense if people support the thing. You got to support it. So
right. And you guys, like I said, you guys stick around. And my thing is we don't even watch preseason football, right? We don't watch preseason footballs where our guys are wearing our team. They're in Green Bay jerseys. They're in Denver Bronco jerseys. They're in Cowboy jerseys. We don't stick around for preseason. So I just don't know how much people are going to be invested. And, the one thing they might have, Jeff, is if it's affordable to go.
Yep.
They'll get the families out and they'll go because the Dallas Cowboys have raised ticket prices again this season. And you see this happen, and it's like, all right, well, I can go down the street and watch football. It may not be the best, but I can afford to get my whole family in for the price to park my car at Jerry's World. Right. So, it's give or take, and that's something, but longevity is the key, and they got to have enough money to keep it going, whether the ratings are there or not.
Now, here's an interesting take. This is what I find to be very interesting about something like this. Can you imagine, let's say, like we have all this stuff going on with Kyler Murray, right? We have all this stuff going on with Baker Mayfield. Can you imagine at some point Baker or Kyler Murray is like, you know what? They're going to pay me. I'm out. That would be interesting because then it would create this kind of buzz, this like, oh, dang, if people aren't happy here, he may just go over there and play for a little bit, get paid, and then maybe at that point that team or some team is like, man, maybe we should have paid Kyler Murray a little bit more. And then he comes back in the NFL, gets paid or whatever. But I could see something crazy where to make buzz, to get people talking about this stuff, somebody makes a move.
That would be long down the road.
That would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
Very interesting.
Maybe they should go and sign Colin Kaepernick. If Colin Kaepernick really wants to play football, guys,
sure,
this is opportunity.
Why not?
All right, guys. Well, number 3, we got some more drama in Arizona between Kyle Murray and the Cardinals. Kyle Murray says he won't play this season without a new contract. There's been beef between the two this last offseason as their season fell apart at the end. They've kind of choked it away at the end of the season. Do you think? I mean, will the Cardinals be crazy enough to trade him? Do you think they're crazy? Do you think Kyle Murray's worth it? What do you think about Kyle Murray, Jeff? Before I tell you my true thoughts on what I think of him, but this all depends on what you think of his play on the field, basically.
Kyler Murray hasn't. First of all, the Cardinals haven't been jack. The last true QB that they had was what? How many years ago was that, Brian? I mean, it's playoff contention.
You're looking at what's his face, Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner. Okay, so that's the last time, right? How can you be a team and actually sit there and try to justify the potential of maybe getting rid of him? He may or may not be great, and that's fine. But it's like you got to understand who else is your option. You could get Baker. Maybe they do it. Maybe that Kyler Murray goes somewhere else, and then they do a trade for Baker. Maybe. But I just don't understand. There's been so many quarterbacks burned this offseason. It's insanity, right? You have old man Matt Ryan. He's been busting his butt for that organization for God knows how long. What does he get? A slap in the face, right? Then you have Baker Mayfield busting his butt trying to get this team to where it needs to be. What do? Slap him in the face. Kyler Murray we don't know. Maybe it's the same situation. We know what's going on with Atlanta. We know what's going on with Cleveland. We know what Cleveland did. We know what Cleveland brought in, right? We don't know anything other than the fact that, was it right the way that they treated Baker Mayfield? Was it right the way they treated Matt Ryan? And now what are we seeing the same kind of thing with Kyler Murray? Is this going to be a problem? And who else is the other option is in this situation? You don't really have much of a choice. Right, Cleveland had their option. The Falcons don't. Who's their option? They told him, "Oh yeah, we're in the mix." Sorry, and then they're not in the mix. And now what do? Eat crow? Well, we kind of still wanted you, Matt Ryan. Did you?
Well, they did, and then it was kind of their backup plan until he said, "Hey, I want some more money," and then they traded him away. And look, I'm fine with trading Matt Ryan.
Fine, sure. Why not?
But
I look at a thing if somebody's been loyal to you, treat them well.
Well, Kyle Murray, okay, coming out of college, there's been a lot of rumors about him being a diva, his family being a pain in the butt. My question is, did he lose the locker room? Okay, if you got a leader that lost the locker room, you're not going to be able to win with him unless you either change him or change the whole locker room. Now, there's been beef between the two. The last game of the season, Kyle Murray refused to go in the game, and he quits. That's like, what? You can't go in and just run a play? Someone in Arizona Cardinals front office, someone leaked that information. We would have had no clue about it unless it came from Arizona. They leaked that information. Kyle thought he was thought he was a scapegoat or whatever. I think Arizona really wants one more year to see if he's going to shape up or ship out. His stats are okay. They're not super fantastic. He's thrown for over 3,000 yards the last 3 years. He's been in the league 3 years. He's thrown for over 20 touchdowns, and he's had double-digit interceptions. And this last season, his rating was 87. It's his lowest of his career. He boasted a 94 and then 100 the 2 years before that. So is he decent? Yes. I think he's overhyped. I think he's not worth these top dollar that they're paying for everyone else. You've got to look at your options. If you're going to get rid of him, what's it going to be? Can you trade him? Someone will give up a lot for Kyle Murray. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Who's your future? This Cardinals team is kind of a built to win now. Trading your quarterback and drafting a quarterback, or maybe you're trading him for another quarterback. I don't know if it's really going to work out. I do think they do sign him eventually, but there's some really bad beef between the two teams, and I'm not sure. And this will be the first time. Did the Cardinals make him sweat because there's new rules in the NFL that a player cannot sit out without losing money. Back in the day, they could actually void that money they lost and still pay the player. Now that's against the rules. So if you do sit out, you will lose money. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Will Kyle Murray take a stand and be that first player, kind of leaving the team in hanging? It's going to be interesting, and we got a long way to go.
Well, and there's also teams that are looking for quarterbacks. You have the Eagles that keep sniffing around. I think Baker's name was thrown around with them this last week. So I mean, you got these teams that are looking for quarterbacks. It's pretty obvious, and these players know that. Baker Mayfield knows it. Kyler Murray knows it. Kyle Murray, and so these guys know this, and teams are going to sniff, and teams are going to pay money, and the market is freaking high. Like the market keeps getting reset.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of money, whether they pay Kyler Murray now or somebody pays for him, but somebody's paying money for him and someone's going to be paying high. Same with Baker Mayfield. It doesn't matter. They could be mediocre. They've had some success in the NFL, and that's it. That's all you need.
This next quarterback contract, the Deshaun Watson one kind of blew the market up. Aaron Rodgers getting $50 million a year. The most guaranteed money goes to Deshaun Watson. You still got Lamar Jackson on what's he going to get paid? Is he going to be the highest paid quarterback? So interesting things. Do they want to pay Lamar Jackson? The quarterback market's going to keep skyrocketing.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to see what's going on with it and figure out where it's going to be, figure out where Kyle Murray is going to be next season. I think he's still in Arizona. I think he'll get it done, but
yeah. And same with wide receiver market. It's
blown
ridiculous.
Up.
Goodness.
All right, Jeff. Well, number 4, we got some trouble in Big D. Like usual, their offseason continues to be a debacle is the word I keep calling it. Kelvin Joseph, their cornerback that they drafted, I think last year or the year before. He's in hot water. All right. A month ago, a man was shot in Dallas and killed. There's been a lot of shootings in Dallas.
I was like, what day was that?
It's turned into GTA down there after the sun goes down. But and it's unfortunate. But I don't go to Dallas. Anyways, Kelvin Joseph on Friday, the news broke actually Thursday that the Dallas police were interested and need to speak with him, Kelvin Joseph, on possible knows information about the shooting. And I'm like, holy crap, this is a month later. Well, breaking news today. Kelvin Joseph was actually in the vehicle that shot, not the vehicle itself, obviously, but was in the vehicle that shots were fired from and killing a poor guy that lost his life in Dallas. Now, as attorney said, Kelvin is not the one who shot the gun. We have no clue.
It's the car.
But they say it like it's, he's innocent. He didn't do it. You're accessory to murder, man.
Oh yeah, you are.
That's accessory to murder unless you're willing to snitch out your own crew. Then
how do you get involved with stuff like this when you're in the NFL?
Look,
seriously,
it didn't start in the NFL, Jeff. This guy got kicked out of LSU. He got kicked out of Kentucky, and they told him, you better enter the draft because if you don't, you might not make it there because you'll probably be in jail, okay? So he comes behind the scenes. The rumors are that he's a difficult person to get along with, difficult person to coach. He has his own photographer who videos his whole career. Yes. This guy's with him 24/7, videos his whole life, his career in football.
He's going to video him in prison?
I don't know. Dallas Cowboys knew the risk of drafting this guy. This is stuff that they knew.
Why do they continue to try and do that kind of stuff with these guys?
They take the risk.
Like, hey, who's the worst of the worst? This guy. Oh, well, we can turn him around. Can you? I don't know.
They're like that. They're like that ex-girlfriend or that girl that thinks they can fix everybody.
It's the magic of the star, Brian. It's the magic star.
And when it craps on your face, you have this surprised look, and you're going, "What? I can't believe Kelvin Joseph would do such." Well, look what happened. Ed Orgeron, okay, basically got, LSU was like, "Okay, Ed, you're gonna leave after the season." They both leave. Ed Orgeron, the guy who was known to do some shady stuff in LSU, kicked him off his team. So think about that.
It's too bad for him, Brian.
This offseason for the Dallas Cowboys continues to be a debacle. Jerry Jones in the news all day, all week.
Are they doing Hard Knocks again? No.
Right. Well, Jeff, I have to tell you something earlier. Craig's new member of the show. We work together, so we're on a text thread together, and he is a Cowboys fan. So it's gonna be interesting to have him on the show. And I said something. I said, hey, your cornerback is being investigated for possibly murdering somebody. And we were talking about crap to each other, and he goes, at least I'm not a Packers fan. So then we got a debate. I'm like, are you going to sit there and tell me that you think the Cowboys have been more successful in the last 25 years than the Packers? That is not a debatable topic. I said, I'm going to have to question you on the show now. Just joking, obviously. But nobody with a brain can tell me that the Cowboys have been as successful as Green Bay in the last 5 years, 10 years.
Come on now.
Get out of here. So we're going to have him on and have him debate that.
It all starts with a championship. That's one. And then it kind of goes, and then it goes down the list. You see how many conference titles, how many divisional games, how many trips to the playoffs.
Well, here's when you look and the whole Super Bowl or bust mentality is dumb. Okay, you think the Kansas City Royal fans are going, man, we don't win the World Series this year. It's a horrible season. No, they know they're not good. The Bengals went to the Super Bowl. Did they win it? No. They're going, man, we made the Super Bowl. I'm super excited. Look at this team. They're not going, oh, we didn't win it. What a failure of a season. It's not how it works.
No, they blame the refs.
If my team goes to the playoffs every year or goes to the NFC Championship game and your team doesn't make the playoffs, my team is better than yours. That's logic. Okay? So don't give me this crap.
So you're saying the 49ers were better than Green Bay?
49ers, yeah, they were better than Packers this season. They beat us.
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. Anyways, so we'll have to have him on to debate that. Well, Jeff, number 5 is a little baseball here for you. The other night, Clayton Kershaw was pulled the other evening. After having a perfect game going into the 7th, he only threw 80 pitches at that point. Do you think it's the right call?
Yes. Yes.
You're wrong.
I'm not.
You are wrong.
I'm not.
Wrong.
No.
Tell me why I'm not. Tell me why he got robbed of history, possibly. It's the only thing Clayton Kershaw has never done in his career. There's only been 32 of them in the MLB history.
Were they up?
Yeah, they were winning.
Okay.
I don't know the score, but they
I asked because it's like if they're tied, there's a difference. Or if they're up by a lot. No, I think it's not a bad idea. And I say that because I've seen this happen before. There's been a few Yankees that's happened to.
Happened to
it sucks. Happened to CC Sabathia.
It happened to Kluber last year.
No, it didn't. Kluber did that last year. Against the Rangers.
No, I know, but then two games later, he blew his arm out and was out for the whole year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. So I look at it this way. Look, players, there are certain players who really, 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 really like those personal accolades. And then there are other players who are like, you know what? I don't really care. I know the idea. Garrett Cole, it happened to him last year. He was throwing I don't know if it was a perfect game or if it was a shutout and he wanted to complete it. He wanted to throw a complete game. He yelled at Aaron Moon to get off the mound. He was about to come out. Mike Mussina did the same thing. I look at it like if you get hurt, which Garrett Cole got hurt that season last year, I question that. Mainly because it's just like it's not worth that to me. I would rather you be healthy and ready to go. 100%. than have you have some personal award of, I got a perfect game or I got a no-hitter. Fine. That's fine. But at the end of the season, what the heck's a no-hitter going to mean? Better than a World Series? Is it better than winning your division? Is it better than winning the pennant? No.
Well, look,
I mean,
it's a
personal award, right? You get the highlight reel, you get all this whatever, but in the end, Clayton Kershaw is going to have a ton of strikeouts this year. He's going to get paid, right? He'll get paid. He's on a 1-year deal, which means wherever he goes, he's going to get money. It's not like someone's going to go, you sucked. Yeah, get that perfect game. Like, come on. Like it's all personal, and if it's that personal to him, like, I don't know.
I think we were robbed. I think Clayton Kershaw would have finished the job. It's the only thing that he's never done in his career. Now, look, I get he does have injuries, and he'll be injured at some point in the season.
Yeah, of course.
That's just what Clayton Kershaw is. But you got to look at the team he's on. The team ain't going to miss Clayton Kershaw if he gets hurt. It's not going to happen.
Clayton Kershaw's going to miss him.
Clayton Kershaw, if he got hurt now, 2 games later he goes or whatever, his next start he goes and injures himself. He has plenty of time and season to get healed up before playoffs.
Right.
Before whatever.
Sure.
They're on the Dodgers. They're going to be one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. I think it was a perfect opportunity to leave him out there, let him try it. He says he's fine with it. You never know. He's probably being a good sport. Maybe he is fine with it. Maybe he didn't like it, but he's not going to come out and cause no drama.
I think if he didn't like it, he'd already expressed that.
There's
been plenty of players that are like that. Like they'll yell, they'll throw the glove, they'll get frustrated, roll their eyes. I've seen it.
Well, yeah, but doesn't mean everyone's like that. And some people would rather just not say anything, especially to the media, and just kind of whatever. It is what it is. I just think when you have a sport that is begging for viewers to take that out of the view of the history off and not even give it a shot. I get it's early in the season. I get they didn't have the proper time, and maybe that's why they didn't have the proper amount of time to warm up before the season started. All those could have played factors. I just want to see it on the field, and maybe I'm being a little selfish. But,
I guess I'm also just not enamored with it anymore. These perfect games, these no hitters, these shutouts, these complete game shutouts. Like I'm just not enamored with it anymore. I've seen it enough. There's more times in one season where we saw at least like 4 of them. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's another one of those. Like it's not. Well, there's not an allure to it anymore. It's kind of like, God, Lee, who the hell did you face? Oh, God. Like it's just like Corey Kluber did it to the Rangers last year. It was cool, I guess. But I mean, if I boil it down to it, I knew Corey Kluber wasn't going to be like that all year. I knew Corey Kluber wasn't even going to come back to the Yankees next year. It was a fluke. Like, so I look at it and it's just like, whatever, it is what it is. It's happened enough times in the last 7-8 seasons, where it's like either complete game shutouts or it's like, a no-hitter, but it's like contextually a no-hitter because, there was an error and I don't know. It's just that kind of stuff is kind of like,
now, this is different though.
Yeah.
A perfect game there's only
I know that.
3 of them in Major League Baseball history. Okay.
Right.
23 of them. I'm not talking about just a no-hitter. I'm talking about 23 in the history of baseball. That's insane. Okay.
Right.
This could have been done. We never know. And that's what I hate about it.
But now, again, coulda, woulda, shoulda. If they got a hit in the 9th inning,
you pull him out. And
his arm's fallen off at that point. He's thrown.
You obviously look at the pitch count. If he's got 80 pitches and the next 2 batters he's thrown 20 to get him out, then obviously you take him out. But
okay, so it was the 7th inning, correct? It was the 7th inning.
7th inning.
I don't know if I would have done it.
80 pitches.
I just
keep
don't.
Him in.
I just don't. Well, you keep him in, then you run that risk that 8th inning is going to be long. And if it's long and you're just sitting there, hopefully, like, get through it, like, what? you run that problem.
You have the bullpen. You have the
Sure,
bullpen
but
going, and if
I don't
something
know.
happens, you
When
pull
it's
them out.
when it's a player who is really injury prone, I really find a hard time to if it's a younger guy and he's like wheeling and dealing, and you're kind of like, hey man, you're in the majors, just do what you can, do what you do, you know. Like I get it, but when it comes to Clay Kershaw, you know, Jacob DeGrom, that kind of stuff, I kind of question it a little bit. You run into that category or to that realm similar, and I bring it back to a little bit of football because this happened before too. You run it into that realm of, remember when Mike Shanahan ran what's his face into the ground like basically all season, and it was who was the guy who played for the freaking Commanders? They weren't the Commanders then, but not Kyle Shanahan. Was it his dad that was coaching them? Was it Mike
What player are you
Shanahan?
talking about here?
I'm talking about its quarterback. He doesn't play anymore.
Oh, RG3.
RG3. So just like ran him into the ground, and everybody questioned that. And it was the playoffs, and he was just like, go out there, you know, or it wasn't even a playoffs. It was a regular season game or something, and it was just like, go out there. And I'm like, why are you doing that? I get that, but I'm just saying, if I look at a player who's got injury prone behavior, I find a little bit, I wouldn't do it. If I was a manager, I'd go, you know what? I'd rather not, because I need you in 3 days. I need you to pitch in 4 days. Like it doesn't. No, I wouldn't do it. I'd pull back.
I'd pull back unless the pitcher says I'm out. But
you run a risk with the pitch count. That's all it is, and it's just like, I don't know.
Tell you an interesting fact of the day. The first perfect game belongs to Lee Richmond of the Worcesterers.
Good. I got one of their hats.
What kind of name is that? Oh,
you got to get a Worcester hat, Brian.
I got you.
Really,
you're not a real fan. We're bad boys. All right, Jeff. Well, that's going to be the episode this week. We do episodes Tuesdays and Fridays. Me and Craig on Tuesday, and me and Jeff on Friday. It is that time for us to ask the important question, Jeff, of what's in your locker.
Not much. Work. Obviously going to be watching some of the basketball, especially the Mavericks, this weekend, seeing, you know, the outcome of that, at least of some of it. Other than that, watching stuff, trying to just relax. I saw the Rockies. I got free tickets for the Rockies by my work, and I won them. And then, you know, me and my wife and my mom went out there and watched the game. It was pretty cool. It was a cool park. I like it. You know, there were a lot of Dodger fans out there, and I think the Dodgers lost. So it was a good game, and the park is cool. It's just the way it's set up is so interesting and different. It's got
interesting fact. The Rockies have the best record of Major League Baseball right now.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, I didn't know that. So yeah, it was just like it's all surrounded kind of inside the downtown area. And so it's got kind of a good feel to it. And then the actual like billboard Titantron thing is kind of facing the mountains and stuff. So it's a pretty cool setup. I like it. My wife liked it. We had a good time. You know, my work has they do multiple things like that. So there's a possibility I could win some Bronco ones as well. So I'm kind of hoping for that one. I don't know if I'll win it, but then other than that, we've just been watching some shows and just chilling out. Kind of getting ready for spring. Spring's kind of coming. So yeah, there's not been much going on really other than the game. I went to my mom's this last weekend and hung out with her, and we're going to probably here in the next month or so going to be going over there more often. So I got to help her with my wife's going to help her with organizing stuff, and she's trying to move out of sell her home and build her other house. So yeah, that's really all that's going on my locker talk. What about you, Brian?
Your locker room talk. All right, guys, on my locker this week, work's been busy, but this weekend, I actually do work tomorrow. This weekend, me and the wife are going out with Amber and Logan to see we're gonna go to the little date night movie eatery bistro place so that you can watch a movie and eat food and see the Fantastic Beast Secret of Dumbledore. My wife is really big into Harry Potter, and so am I. Well, not as big as she is. She's into Harry Potter like I am sports, so she loves Harry Potter, and I've seen all the movies and they're good. So hopefully that one's really good. We got Easter weekend coming up, and we're having the family cookout. We're gonna cook out burgers and some sausage and some hot dogs, and have some family over to the new house and just kind of hang out and play some cornhole and have a good old time. Hide some eggs. Obviously, we got to put the Easter baskets together for the kiddos. I've been really excited about baseball season, watching the Rangers. They've already been more entertaining than they were all last year. The bullpen is garbage and complete trash, and so is the starting pitching's been pretty bad. But our bats are fun to watch. We're going to put up quite a bit of runs this year. So I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see. I heard Jack Leiter, our Double-A pitcher that we got in the draft, high prospect or highest prospect, did an interview the other day on 105 through the fans, able to listen to him, and he'll be up in the bigs hopefully before too long. But we got a good farm system, and the Ranger team is headed into the right direction. So looking forward to that going forward. I've been rewatching Breaking Bad. I love that show. Excuse me, when I find the time to watch it, because I can't watch it around the kiddos. But you got Ozark is fantastic. We have what is that show? Moonlight. We've been watching. Is it Moonlight or Shadow Moon? Something Moon on Marvel on Disney.
Watch it with the kids, Frank. Come on.
No, definitely can't do that. That's been really good as well. Other than that, I think that's it for what's in my locker segment. Jeff, you want to jump back on here? We've got some things coming with our podcast. We're not ready to announce those just yet.
Blowing
You're blowing
the whole thing up.
We're blowing it up. We're ending it. It's done. Let's get out of here. No, I mean, we have some things coming up our sleeves. Always looking to grow the show. We added Craig to the show. He's going to help me on my Tuesday episodes and be a part of the show. But we got some special editions coming next week, guys. Monday night, probably around 5:00 Central Time. Monday evening, I should say. My buddy Ryan's going to jump on. He studies the draft every year. He listens to Draft Talk all the time, and we're going to break down the top 50 prospects coming into the draft this Thursday. The draft is Thursday night next week. Tuesday, there might be an episode. There might not. I'm not sure yet. Craig said he might jump on and do a show. Thursday night will be our first live react. Craig's going to take that over. He's going to live react to the first round of the draft and talk about that. So that's going to be awesome that he's going to be able to do that. And then that weekend, we may or may not have a show on Friday. More than likely not. I'll be out of town this next weekend. We're going to see my brother-in-law. And but if we don't have a show, there's a lot of content we're throwing out this week. If we don't have a show on Friday, we will have a show that following Tuesday. And I'll probably put some stuff out on TikTok. I'm trying to do more on TikTok, and trying to find ways to do that and to make it better and better content and stuff like that. But other than that, I think that's all we got for you guys. I hope your Easter is fantastic. I hope you go out and celebrate it which way you want to. Have a good weekend. It's supposed to be 75 on Sunday here. We've had some fantastic weather here in Texas the last couple of days. So feeling good out there in Colorado?
Yeah. I was just looking. I think there's a fire, but
well, there's always you always have a fire.
Well, it's like way out though. I can't even it's way out. It's like way, way, way out there.
You always have a fire.
But I can tell. So.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna be it for this episode. I'll post it up after we're done here. And thanks, guys, for tuning in. We've had some more viewers tuning in to the show. And that's gonna be it for us, guys. God bless. Take care.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.